Yo, what's up, guys? Welcome to today's video. I just did something insane, bro. I went and got second place in the Saturday Giant card, and then I got first place in the Sunday Giant card with the same deck. A deck that I find very unorthodox, and something that people, I feel like, are sleeping on this format. But before I start and get into this video, I want to give a few shoutouts, as well as don't forget to comment, like, and subscribe. That helps the channel out a lot, and yeah, it allows me to put out even greater content. But few shoutouts. First of all, to Gabriel Susi. If you guys can find his channel down in the description box below. You know, he's an amazing streamer. He streams in French, but also in English. And he was the one who basically came up with this deck idea. And I basically just took his list and theoried with him. And that's essentially why I got to... I feel like the reason why I did so well is because he basically theoried with me and explained a lot of the card choices. And then, of course, shout out to Susu for letting me borrow a card. You guys will see it pretty soon. It's the Ghost Rare BLS. I have one in the mail coming, but he lent me for this event. I never summoned it, but we'll talk more about that when we get there. And yeah, guys, we're going to jump right into the deck profile now. Let's go with the monsters. We'll get right into it. 1, Ecclesia. 2, Golden Lord. And then the only hand trap / pseudo trap card is 3, Gamma Driver. So I'm going to explain what the hell I played today, and it's really weird. I mean, not really, but I'm basically playing Trap Eldlich. And basically the goal of this deck is, think of it as a purple turbo deck. All I'm doing is dumping a lot of trap cards that go +1s. Like, trap cards are literally 2 for 1s against my opponents. And so I basically condense the main monsters to only 2 Golden Lord and 1 Ecclesia. Because that's all you need. And then Gamma, because it's a pseudo trap card. This is a pseudo strike. It's obviously not a counter trap, but this card ensures that your back row resolves. It ensures that your back row resolves, so that when you activate cards like Torrential, they chain Savage, you just Gamma them and they just lose. So that's pretty much it. Only 7 monsters in the main deck. Realistically, only 3 if you don't count these. Driver is actually really insane because sometimes you draw Nadir and Ecclesia. You want to be able to special Ecclesia, search, and then tribute summon her so that you can then make your Nadir live because you only play 1 Dogma monster. But we're going to get into the trap cards now. 3, Extravagance. This card says draw 2, so that's how you play it. 3, Nadir. This card is also really insane because it gives these. All the cards I'm playing right now are basically cards that go +1s or +2s, and basically what this deck tries to accumulate is boil it down to the simplest game state by dwindling my opponent's resources, and these cards helps me get there. So these are like basically the 6 spells, and the last spell that people seem to forgot about is Card of Demise. Man, this card is so crazy, yo. Who remembers when Draco would draw 3 cards with this? Yep, this is it. Demise is a very, very strong card with this deck. You don't really special summon that much. A cool play that actually helped me win the finals is you can actually use Golden Lord effect, add it to your hand, don't summon because you're under Demise, and then use Lord effect to send itself and another card in your hand to out your opponent's cards. So it's a very, very strong card. This card actually helps you draw multiple cards in the grind game as well. So it's just like a really good recovery card. Now we have 3 Scarlet Sanguine, 3 Conquistador, and only 2 Haquero. This is the barebone engine. I don't think you need more. They're for the Eldlich engine, mainly because Haquero is not that great this format. You only need to resolve this like at least once or twice to win the game. Same with Conquistador. Like, Conquistador is the better one, and Haquero is the utility one. In this format, you only need 2 Haquero. It just really depends on the format, whether you play 2 or 3. Even in the Eldlich mirror, which I 2-0'd during the Giant card, you only need 2 of these, and it's fine as well. You have cards like IDP that does the same job. So only 2 of this is like perfect. Also the other thing is there's 5 golden lands because mathematically you only want to open up 1 golden land in a starting hand, or basically in totality you have 8 ways to engine, which is like Eldlich cards, right? You only need 8. You don't want to draw multiples. You want to draw only 1. So in terms of lands, you want to draw either one of these, and in terms of sanguines, you only draw 1 of these, right? So if you notice in the spell count, we don't play L land, and that's something that's really unorthodox because people are probably like, "Pat, you don't play L land? What the hell? Is this a budget deck?" And well, the answer is no. It's not a budget deck. I don't play L land because the card is actually not that great. First of all, going second against the Dragon deck, right? Because it's a card that just automatically gets negated. And it also doesn't advance like your game state really, because it's a card that searches you. Like, if you think about what L land accomplished, right? Think about the role of the card. L land searches you golden lands. But Golden Lands don't accomplish much. What you rather want to have is like a powerful back row card that goes 1 for 2 or 1 for 3, right? And instead of having L-Lands, I'd rather have those powerful trap cards. So that was also the logic. The thing with L-Land too is it also clogged your back row. So like when you activate L-Land and then you have to set a Haquero, now you have only 3 back row slots for like your powerful traps. And to be quite honest, you need as many live back row as possible. It also messes up Trap Trick, right? So that's the reason why we chose like not to play L-Land. Also, we don't have a way to like pop L-Land going first as well, so it just makes the card like honestly not that great. Like searching Haquero Pass is like not that great in my opinion. But now we're gonna get into like some of the powerful traps cards. We're gonna play 3 Solemn Strike, and this is I'll show, and then of course 3 Broken Line. This is a counter trap that a lot of people do not know about, and this card is absolutely insane. So why do we play Broken Line, right? So basically, if you guys didn't know, during the Extravaganza, during the Giant card, I 2-0'd every single Dragon Link player except the person I lost to in the finals on Saturday's Giant card event. But every other Dragon Link player I 2-0'd. And one of the reasons why I 2-0'd every single Dragon player is because of Broken Line. What this card does is, going second, you can set Broken Line in front of any interruption such as Savage, and it guarantees your Torrential resolving. Against back row decks, right? Going second, you can just set in front of their in front of their like spells and trap cards, and it just makes it so that you turn off a roll completely, right? And if you draw 2 of them, you can set them both in the extra monster zones, like these, and then basically whatever zone they summon their Link monster in, it's gonna get automatically negated. The cool thing about Broken Line 2 that a lot of people don't know about is that it negates in the column. So if a card like Heretic Seal were to be tribute for cost, and it tribute for cost in the same column as a Broken Line, you can actually negate the ability to bounce. So it's another cool interactions why this card is like really, really strong. And that's why we chose to play it. And then going first, you can always play in the middle column because people just subconsciously, psychologically activate cards in the middle column. I've negated my opponent's like Lightning Storm or Duster before because they just, subsequent, like they just like would, activate cards in the middle column, not thinking too much about it. I also would set 5, so like they would just activate cards in the middle, right? It's just habitually that's what they do. And then I was just Broken Line them and they just lose. Right, and so this card is like very, very strong, and you punish a lot of people's basically if they don't play into the right columns. It's a card that was not expected, right? So I was able to get a lot of advantage off of that. Next, more powerful trap cards. Like I said, 1 for 2s, 1 for 3s, right? IDP is a card that's a 1 for 2, right? It DD crows their graveyard and then it banishes the monsters on their field. So absolutely insane. And then we have 3 Dogmatic Punishment. This card in this deck is literally one of the best cards, yo. I love this card. This card goes 1 for 2 every time. Like, it's just that strong. Like, this is so good. Like I said, 1 for 2 trap cards. 3 Trap Trick. Why? Because it gets any trap in your deck. So, these are cards that go 1 for 2. And then the last 3 Torrential Tribute. This is like 1 for 4. A lot of times, the reason why this deck is really cool with Torrential too is because you have cards like Conquistador and Haquero that can trigger the Torrential. So you can Torrential whenever you want. There's one game where I drew so many Eldlich cards, but I only drew Torrential. I drew 4 Eldlich cards and Torrential. I just let the Dragon Link player combo, and then I Torrential him, and then that was enough to win me the game, and that was it. So 40 cards in the main deck, and that's it. Now we're going to go into the extra deck. I play 1 BLS. Shout out to Susu for this, like I mentioned before. 1 Flageet. This one is actually insane. This card has won me so many games. Especially because what you would do is you can put back cards like Driver or Golden Lords, cards you don't want in your hand, and then draw a card. And why this is so good is because you can put back those bricks and then draw into better cards, especially post side. Like I would draw into there was actually in top 4, I drew into Solemn Judgment and put back my Golden Lord, which was a brick going first. And of course, like like that utility alone just is just so strong. Like if you go going first and you like hard draw Gamma, then Ash your Nadir, you can just put back the Gamma, and then it lets you normal summon the Deer and just like basically make as many cards in your hands live as possible. Next we have 1 Nightmare Phoenix for utility. 2 Link Spider. 1 should be Imduck. I didn't own one, so 2 Link Spider was fine. I never needed more. Next we have the Last Warrior. This card is absolutely insane. You summon it off Waking the Dragon post side, so that when they Lightning Storm you, you summon this and they just auto scoop. I recommend playing 2 of this card. I only played 1, and that actually cost me the finals of the Saturday Giant card. But other than that, I think 1 was okay. I just definitely wish I had a second one. one Titaniclad, because if you don't have access to Ecclesia or Nadirs, but you have access to Punishment, you can Punishment, send Titanclad, summon Ecclesia, and then use Titanclad to add back Ecclesia. So you get a body and a back row, which is like really, really insane. So basically, it turns Punishment into an engine card, which is like really, really insane, right? So one Titaniclad, one App Colonne. You're gonna be like, Pack, what the hell? You're playing App Colonne in your deck? Well, I side into Ariel. So basically for the mirror match, right, for any Eldlich mirror match, I side into Ariel. For the Shaddoll matchup, I side into Ariel. And basically what I do is I basically DD Crow their graveyard, and I do it multiple times, looping Nadirs, looping Punishments. So basically App Colonne is an insane utility card, and that's like the versatility of Punishments. Honestly, one of the best cards in the deck because it gets you to any disruption you need. Do you need an extra pop? Do you need a DD Crow? Do you need to follow up? Do you need to draw a card? There's one game where I actually Punishment my opponent and then for legit to draw an extra card to fix my hand. It's just really, really strong and versatile. Then we play Triple Intis, probably the best one in the extra deck because, like I said, it makes Punishment 2-for-1s. And with Nadir, you can actually use Nadir to like pop back row and like crack opponent's board. So that's it for the fusions and the links. Then we have two synchros. I played Adding Nister and then Omega. Omega is really strong because actually against the Shaddoll matchup, I actually won by going Punishment, popping his Gravity Controller, sending Omega, and then using Omega to shuffle back like his engine cards like Resh or like Schism so that he can't add it back off of like Construct. And so like he can't Resh loop me, and then that allows me to just win the game. And then Adding Nister is a really insane card. It's actually a 4th in Tis, but it's also it's even crazier than that because the coolest thing about Adding Nister is that like if your opponent goes Twin Twister, if you go Twin Twister, pop your back row, and you chain Punishment, popping their monster, you can actually send Adding Nister, and then on a new chain, on the resolution of everything, you can then trigger Adding Nister to shuffle back your opponent's cards. And why this is really important is because against the Shaddoll matchup, right, when they pop your back row with Dragon and you chain Punishment to pop their card and send Adding Nister, you can then use Adding Nister to shuffle back their fusion monster like Construct, so they don't get to access their like send their constructs to the graveyard to trigger their effects add back. So it's like really, really strong. Like Adding Nister is like absolutely insane. Then for the two XYZs, I played one Pleiades, basically because sometimes you only have like Conquistadors and Aquaros, and so it lets you make this. And this card plays around Shaddoll Fusion really, really well. So I really, really like this. And then of course the last XYZ is Raid Raptor Ultimate Hufkin for basically for Waking the Dragon target. It could have been a second Last Warrior, but I wanted to play an Ultimate Falcon because I didn't own a Last Warrior, a second one at least. And the coolest thing about Ultimate Falcon is that I summon this a lot against a trap mirror match or trap deck mirror matches, and they just cannot out this card. This card is really hard to out. So just off that alone, I decided to play this in. So there's that. Now for the side deck, we have some spice. We got Ariel, like I already explained before. We have 2 anti-spell and then IO, basically making sure that they can't, Lightning Storm you. They can't, and like it's really good against like Shaddoll matchup, right? Also against Dragon Link, putting this in is really strong too because of Lightning Storm, but also because it turns off their boot sector and it forces them to use Quick Launch early. It also makes Chaos Space dead. It makes Ravine dead. The card is like really, really strong. Next we have Triple Heavy Storm Duster for mirror matches. This card with Trap Trick means you have 6 ways to pop 2. That's crazy. Like I said, right? We want to play cards that go 1 for 2, right? Heavy Storm Duster is one of those cards that go 1 for 2. Then we have 3 Judgment that says no, right? Like cards that basically says your opponent like basically can't blow you out the water. So I really like this card. And then we have Double Waking the Dragon because we can Trap Trick into it. So we have 5 copies of it with Trap Trick. And then the next thing we have is 3 Witch's Strike. This card single-handedly allowed me to 2-0 every dragon. Like this card is so insane every time I drew it or I had Trap Trick. Because if you guys didn't understand how this card works, basically the way Witcher Strike worked is against like the Dragon Link matchups, basically I would side this in going second. And they would go Savage, negate like Torrent. You would negate IDP, they would negate Punishment. I have so many back row that forces out a Savage negate. On resolution, I activated Witcher Strike. And then they lose their entire hand and their whole board. And the craziest thing about Witcher Strike is that even if they summon Brotar F after they destroy their entire board, they can't even use Brotar effect because they won't have a card in hand. So like it's just that insane in my opinion. So there's that. So that's pretty much it. In terms of the side deck, in terms of like my matchups, so I'll talk about the two events, the one on the Saturday Giant card and the Sunday Giant card. The Saturday Giant card, I played 5 Dragon Links and 1 Eldlich match. I basically tooled every single person except the finals, which is again the Dragon Link matchup, which I lost to. And basically I just didn't have I basically got rebooted. So the thing with reboot is that like if they reboot you, you can't do much about it unless you draw your own solemn, right? Like unfortunately, I'm getting rebooted Duster. Like it's the only time I lost. And the other thing that I really want to talk about is I actually been testing this deck live on Twitch from Friday, Saturday. So 2 days of testing, Friday and Saturday locals. I took this deck and I played it live on stream. Basically to show you guys, like, you know, if you test a deck and you figure out what's wrong with it, what's better, what you can improve on with the deck, and then take it to an actual event, you'll have much better success than like quote unquote winging it, right? A lot of people do have success with that, but this is like tried and true. If you watch my VOD from Friday and Saturday and Thursday, I literally took this deck and played it, you know, for 2 locals straight. And I ultimately went, I think 7-1. I went undefeated 1 locals, and the other locals I lost. I had 1 loss because I literally got dustered and rebooted, and Pankratops. Literally the only time I lost. So the only time I lose with this deck is when I get dustered or rebooted, in conjunction, realistically, right? And then basically, so that's pretty much that, right? So and then on Sunday, I basically played a bunch of like, I'll be honest, like really super rogue decks. I played a bunch of rogue decks, and I played in a bunch of Winamats. So I ultimately went, I would say, if I do the math right, I went 5-0, 5-1, 3-0. So I went 13-1 with this deck in the weekends, from Saturday and Sunday, and then I went 7-1 between Thursday and Friday. So, and all my losses were to reboot. You guys saw it on stream already. I mean, the proof is in the pudding, right? Like, I literally test this deck. And so, just want to encourage you guys, if you guys are picking, if you guys want, like, the secret sauce on how to, like, top and do all events, you know, take a deck and always give it a shot first. Like, you know, I literally got clowned on for playing a deck like this, like, right? And then, you know what I did? I'm like, you know what? Screw it. I'm going to take it to, like, the event on Saturday and Sunday and show people that you can top with literally anything as long as you're creative enough, right? And learn interactions. So, hope you guys enjoy this video. I'm going to be doing another video as well, if it's not already up, with MST TV, aka Tombox. And that's going to be really cool. He wants to profile this deck as well. And so I hope you guys enjoyed the deck profile. Definitely give this deck a shot. I mean, I'm definitely like excited to be sharing this with you guys, but I'll be honest, I definitely don't want to play against this deck. It's very, very like strong. Like some of these back roll, like it's so scary. And yeah, guys. I'll see you guys later. I'll talk to you guys later. I hope you guys enjoy this deck profile, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.